Hello everyone, this is Yeshua said my name. I hope you're doing well today. I'm going to be doing a part 2 exposing Freemasonry, and in this video we will be dealing with 2 questions that are asked by Christians to this former born-again Christian who was a former high-ranking Freemason. So again, the author of this book is Tom McKenney, and this is the front cover here. And I'm going to be doing excerpts from this book for you to break it down for you. And I'm picking out the most relevant, I feel, questions that were posed to Tom McKenney about Freemasonry. So let me get to this other question here for you. Okay. Does Freemasonry have something to do with Egyptian pagan religions? Now, Thomas McKenney goes on to answer, Masonry has everything to do with the Egyptian pagan religions. With no exception, the Masonic philosophers and writers of Masonic history trace Freemasonry directly back to the mystery religions of the East, especially those of Isis, Osiris of Egypt. Agreeing with Albert Pike and Joseph Fort Newton, two of Masonry's most respected authorities, the Kentucky Monitor declares plainly, quote, Freemasonry has come to us from the ancient mysteries of Osiris and Isis as celebrated in Egypt. That we owe much of our ritual to those old systems, and that from them and through them to even more remote sources do we trace much of our doctrine. So according to the consensus of Masonic authorities, the only pure form of religion that ever existed was that of the ancient pagan mysteries. Now, this is a quote coming from the Kentucky Monitor declaring this plainly. And of course, Albert Pike and Joseph Fort were quoted as stating, okay, in these sources that Masonry does indeed come from the mystery Eastern pagan religions, okay? Second question in this video, coming from Christians to this gentleman, all right? If an initiate must kneel before a Muslim altar and call upon Allah, the God of Muhammad, are there actually Christians who do this? It seems impossible for a Christian to do such an obviously wrong and sinful thing, but they do. Pastors are involved as well as deacons, and men and women of every denomination, a woman if you're from the Eastern Star, he means, with not only the obvious theological contradiction, but also the historic determination of the Muslims to eradicate the Jews and possess the land of Israel. It seems unthinkable that a Jew should also do this, but they do. Rabbis do. In the case of most shrine candidates, I believe that they don't take the Muslim matter or the oath seriously, he states. They are just going through it all, getting it over with, so they can get on with their good works and their parties. All right. But a pastor, priest, or rabbi who does such a thing must be one who is already terribly confused theologically, perhaps a universalist, now keep that word in mind, a universalist who thinks everyone goes to heaven if there is such a place, that all gods are one and the same, and that, quote, all roads lead to the same mountaintop. They are wrong, and forever is a long time to be wrong. Now, it's interesting that in these questions here posed to Thomas McKenney, he states here that, yes, indeed, Freemasonry is known for its roots to mystery religions, pagan religions of Egypt, and that they are universalist. So this has, I wanted to show you what he had to say about this here, because these are some main questions that I feel a lot of Christians wonder. You know, is Freemasonry Christian? Is there anything wrong with a confessing Christian joining Freemasonry? Well, he's answering these questions for you. You can't fellowship with light and darkness or sit at the table of the secular world while sitting at the table of Christ. It's either Christ and what he says about himself, or it's this universalist agenda, this ecumenical agenda, whether it's Jesuit teachings, whether it's coming from Freemasonry, which I just read you, that all paths lead to God. The Vatican has been teaching this, Mystery Babylon from Revelation 17 and 18, the book of Daniel. The papacy has been preaching for many popes down through the dynasty that all paths lead to God. Let's make peace with the world and have Gaia worship at the Vatican, and Hindus and Indian chanters, and tell Muslims we're all brothers and sisters. No, that is not the gospel of Christ. Christ said he is the only way. So I wanted to read an excerpt from this book to show you how Freemasonry is ecumenical, it is universalist. I wanted to give you quotes from Albert Pike and Mr. Fort from the Kentucky Monitor. I wanted to read to you directly from this book, from this former high-ranking Freemason who is now a born-again Christian. And it's his mission now in this book to draw people out and to expose the truth of Freemasonry. It is Luciferian to the core. The Luciferian doctrine tells you that Lucifer is the god of light, that he is the god of truth. And through these ancient Eastern mystery religions, he works through these secret societies to deceive the whole world. And this is what I'm trying to expose for you in part 2, okay, and more to come, because there'll be other parts that I'll be reading to you from this book in other videos coming up. I'm trying to help people understand what Freemasonry is. And you'll find, sadly, that if you approach this even in your church, if you approach a family member or a friend or a coworker, many are very uneducated about what this is about. They truly believe, especially the lower initiates, that they're not doing anything wrong, that they're simply doing good works, and that they're part of a really, really interesting club. What they don't understand is that they're being drawn by Lucifer into a deception. Lucifer comes deceiving, looking like the real thing. He doesn't come looking like your enemy, okay? He will come looking like an angel of light. He'll come looking like an angel of truth, a messenger of righteousness. Your enemy is not going to infiltrate churches looking like your enemy. He's going to come into the churches. The Jesuits are creeping in, the Freemasons are creeping in, and they're going to come in clothed as pastors, as deacons. Now, am I saying every pastor and deacon is a part of this Freemasonic movement or a Jesuit? Of course not. But one of Satan's tactics is to infiltrate through the pastorates, through deacons, through teachers in churches and things like that, in every denomination, not just Catholic, but Protestant as well. And I'm here to expose this for you. And women, if you're involved in the Eastern Star, that is based on the mystery religions as well of paganism and occult practices. You need to come out, okay? It is either Jesus or it's this mess. It's either Jesus or it's the Jesuit doctrines. It's the Vatican. It's the papacy. It's the books and movies and the pastors and what they say. What does Jesus say? What does Jesus tell you in his word? Is it these men and these systems and these denominations, or is it Jesus and what he says to you, who he is? And like this man said in this book here that I just read to you, forever is a long time to be wrong. God bless you, and more to come soon. There'll be a part 3.